Hi guys, from this month's BBC Good Food magazine, I made this beautiful shellfish, orzo and saffron stew, and it was really easy once you have the preparation done, which can be done in advance, but once that's done it can be thrown together in 20 minutes. Start off with some whole prawns. The recipe calls for 8 of them. Unfortunately though, I could only find langoustines, which are slightly less meaty in the tail. The recipe also says to devein them while leaving the shells on, but I'm going to take the shells off because I think it's going to be so awkward fishing through the stew, trying to peel the prawns, even though they would look beautiful if left on. Don't worry though, I'm going to put all the heads and shells to good use by making a really good stock. So just gently twist off the head, and if this was a prawn, you could just peel off the shells like this, but langoustine shells are a lot tougher, so I'm going to separate and remove each segment like this with a sharp knife. Once that's all done, lay the tail out flat and just make a tiny shallow cut along its back. Not too deep, and you should be able to remove the gastrointestinal tract. That'll be the black little vein. And if you're lucky, it should come out in one piece. Sometimes though, when you're lucky, if you're breaking off the lowest part of the tail, it'll all just come out in one go. Just remember to remove it from the shell and don't add it to the bowl that you're going to make your stock from. Once you're done, you'll have your tails that need a quick rinse, and then you'll have a big bowl of shells to make your stock. Do this by adding a big pot over a high heat and add in all the heads and shells. Add about a teaspoon of salt, or leave it out if you prefer, but you will have to season later, and add a litre of cold water. Now give it a good mash with a potato masher to crush all the heads and mash up all the shells. Let it come up to the boil and then mash it again. Then let it boil and reduce away for at least an hour or until it's reduced by about half. By the way, if this is too much work, you can leave it out. The recipe just says to use fish stock, which I will use, but I'm also going to use this to make the fish stock to make it extra fishy. So as that's reducing, add about 12 mussels to the sink and about 12 clams. If any of these are open now, give them a good hard knock on the kitchen counter and let them close naturally. If they don't close, it means they're dead and they need to be thrown away. Now just give each of them a really good scrub, making sure that you get rid of any kind of wiry beards that the mussels might have. Once they're all washed really well, just set them aside until later when you'll need them. Now take a heat-proof jug, and to that you're going to add some saffron. This is ridiculously expensive, but you are only going to use a tiny little pinch of it. Or if you like, you can leave it out as well. Now to that you're going to add 100 milliliters of boiling water and let it steep for 10 minutes. This will really release all the beautiful colour and flavour of the saffron. Next, chop your veg, starting with 3 shallots. So peel them and thinly slice them before adding them to a bowl. Take a stick of celery and finely slice that up as well before adding it to the bowl too. Now for the garlic. The recipe says to add 5 cloves here, but these ones are really small, so I'm going to add a little more. And also, shellfish and garlic are just best friends. They really go so well together. Now if you like, you can finely chop this garlic or finely grate it, but I'm going to use my garlic crusher because it's new and I really like using it. But just suit yourself. So once all the veg is chopped, set them aside until later. By now the stock should have reduced enough, so take another heat-proof jug and a sieve and pour the stock through the sieve so that you catch any tiny bits of shell fragment. You only need 500 milliliters for this recipe, so I'm going to discard almost 100 milliliters of this. Now to intensify the fish flavour, I'm going to add a shop-bought stock pot to this hot stock and mix it all up. Next I'm going to take the hot saffron water and add it to the stock and mix it all up. Now set it aside for just a second while you mix together 50 milliliters of Pernod. This is a kind of a licoricey, star anise-y liqueur. And 150 milliliters of white wine. Use one you like because you're only using 150 milliliters here. You can have another few glasses with your dinner then. Now bring everything over to the hob to start cooking. So add 3 tablespoons of rapeseed oil or olive oil to a heavy base saucepan. Once it's nice and hot, add in your veg and cook for 1 or 2 minutes or until they're just starting to soften over a high heat. Give them another quick stir before you add in your wine and Pernod and let that come to the boil. Once it's boiling, let it simmer for about 2 minutes before you add your saffron and stock mixture. Once that's boiling too, go in with 200 grams of orzo pasta. That's pasta in the shape of rice, and give it a good stir. Now clamp the lid on and let it cook for 4 minutes. 4 minutes later, take off the lid and add in your langoustines followed by your mussels and clams. Stir it up briefly before you clamp the lid on and let it cook for another 5 minutes or until the pasta is cooked. Then open it up again and give it a stir around with a clean spoon and give it a little taste to check to see that the pasta is cooked and that the seasoning is okay, and adjust the seasoning if needs be. Then scatter over some chopped fresh parsley and serve at the table. I served this up with some crusty white bread for mopping up the juices in the end, and a lemon wedge to spritz over, and it was so delicious. Thanks a million for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button below and the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can check me out on social media. You'll find all the links to my accounts in the description below, as well as the link to my blog where you'll find this full recipe at www.rookiecook.org.